There are many little ways to enlarge your child's world. Love of books is the best of all. If you want things to be right, you have to do them yourself. Once you can express yourself, you can tell the world what you want from it. All the changes in the world, for good or evil, were first brought about by words. I think my biggest achievement is that after going through a rather difficult time, I consider myself comparatively sane. I'm proud of that. I want minimum information given with maximum politeness. Being a reporter seems a ticket out to the world. The first time you marry for love, the second for money, and the third for companionship. Can anyone understand how it is to have lived in the White House and then, suddenly, to be living alone as the president's widow? You have only one chance to raise your child. A great goal in life is the only fortune worth finding. Whenever I was upset by something in the papers, Jack always told me to be more tolerant, like a horse flicking away flies. In the summer, you must continue. Poets are the ones who change the world. Even though people may be well known, they hold in their hearts the emotions of a simple person for the moments that are the most important of those we know on earth. Birth, marriage, and death. One should always dress like a marble column. History, it's what those bitter old men write. He didn't even have the satisfaction of being killed for civil rights. It had to be some silly little communist. The greatest responsibility is your children. If my children turned out badly, I'd feel that nothing I had done was worthwhile. If you cut people off from what nourishes them spiritually, something in them dies. I don't understand it. Jack will spend any amount of money to buy votes, but he balks at investing $1,000 in a beautiful painting. I'll be a wife and mother first, then first lady. One must not let oneself be overwhelmed by sadness. The children have been a wonderful gift to me, and I'm thankful to have once again seen our world through their eyes. They restore my faith in the family's future. I think the best thing I can do is to be a distraction. A husband lives and breathes his work all day long. If he comes home to more table thumping, how can the poor man ever relax? If school days are the happiest days of your life, I'm hanging myself with my skip rope tonight. You have to be doing something you enjoy. That is a definition of happiness. Complete use of one's faculties along lines leading to excellence in a life, affording them scope. It applies to women as well as to men. We can't all reach it, but we can try to reach it to some degree. We are the only country in the world that trashes its old buildings. Too late, we realize how very much we need them. You have to have been a Republican to know how good it is to be a Democrat. Being a journalist seemed the ideal way of both having a job and experiencing the world, especially for anyone with a sense of adventure. Our culture will become like it was during the medieval times when there truly was a cultural elite. The rest of the people will just watch television, which will be their only frame of reference. The trouble with me is that I'm an outsider, and that's a very hard thing to be in American life. The one thing I do not want to be called is First Lady. It sounds like a saddle horse. What is sad for women of my generation is that they weren't supposed to work if they had families. What were they going to do when the children are grown? Watch the raindrops coming down the window pane. Americans care about their past, but for short-term gain, they ignore it and tear down everything that matters. Being away from home gave me a chance to look at myself with a jaundiced eye. I think the major role of the First Lady is to take care of the president so that he can best serve the people, and not to fail her family, her husband and children. A newspaper reported that I spent $30,000 a year buying Paris clothes and that women hate me for it. I couldn't spend that much unless I wore sable underwear. An editor becomes kind of your mother. You expect love and encouragement from an editor. One of the things I like about publishing is that you don't promote the editor, you promote the book and the author. In the event you bungle elevating your sons or daughters, I do not imagine, regardless of what else you are doing nicely, issues very considerably. We should all do something to right the wrongs that we see and not just complain about them. Jackie Lee Kennedy Onassis, July 28, 1929, May 19, 1994, at Southampton Hospital in Southampton, New York, to Wall Street stockbroker John Vernew, Black Jack Bouvier III, and socialite Janet Norton Lee. Her mother was of Irish descent, and her father had French, Scottish, and English ancestry. Named after her father, she was baptized at the Church of St. Ignatius Loyola in Manhattan, and raised in the Roman Catholic faith. Caroline Lee, her younger sister, was born 4 years later on March 3, 1933. Kennedy was an American socialite, writer, photographer, and book editor, who served as the First Lady of the United States from 1961 to 1963. As the wife of President John F. Kennedy, a popular First Lady, she endeared the American public with her devotion to her family, dedication to the historic preservation of the White House, the campaigns she led to preserve and restore historic landmarks, and architecture, along with her interest in American history, culture, and arts. During her lifetime, she was regarded as an international icon for her unique fashion choices, and her work as a cultural ambassador of the United States made her very popular globally. At age 31, she was the third youngest First Lady of the United States when her husband was inaugurated and was named Time Magazine's Woman of the Year in 1962. After her husband's assassination and funeral in 1963, Kennedy and her children largely withdrew from public view. In 1968, she married Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis, which caused controversy. Following Onassis's death in 1975, she had a career as a book editor in New York City, first at Viking Press and then at Doubleday, and worked to restore her public image. Even after her death, she ranks as one of the most popular and recognizable First Ladies in American history, and in 1999, she was listed as one of Gallup's most admired men and women of the 20th century. She died in 1994 and was buried at Arlington National Cemetery alongside President Kennedy. Surveys of historians, conducted periodically by the Siena College Research Institute since 1982, have consistently found Kennedy Onassis to rank among the most highly regarded First Ladies by the assessments of historians.